Ian, what's the SNP's take on what we've seen?
Well, we've just watched on in horror, really, what's happened over the course of the last few weeks. And I have to say, I'm glad that the Prime Minister has done the right thing and gone, because this has been cataclysmic. It's been an experiment which has gone horribly wrong to the extent that many people, millions of people that have got mortgages, are going to be facing higher mortgage costs when their existing deals run out, John. So there's a cost to all of this. It's really been an edifying spectacle, really topped off with everything that we saw yesterday, the horrible scenes in the House of Commons last night. It's a government that's run out of time. And quite frankly, what we should be facing is a general election so the public can have their say. And importantly, for those of us in Scotland, we can express our opinion as to whether we desire to remain part of the union with the United Kingdom or not. And for us, that preference to become an independent country back into Europe. But
Mm.
Westminster has not covered itself in glory with the leadership the Conservative government has shown for quite some time. We got rid of Boris Johnson for reasons that we all know of, and we ended up, sad to say, with a Prime Minister that has taken us off the cliff edge and really done great damage to the standing of the United Kingdom. And John, let's not forget that when you look at the current account deficit we have, the UK has a current account deficit of more than 8% of GDP. We need to be financed by foreigners. And at the moment, foreigners are taking a very dim view as to what they see as the stability of the UK. And I guess that's where I would have some agreement with the Prime Minister that we need to have a focus on growth. But what we had from that mini budget wasn't a focus on growth. It was a wish list, an aspirational list, but not grounded in reality. And that
Mm.
is what's so sad. And that's the debate that we need to have, and one that I'm absolutely determined to have over the course
Mm.
of the next few period. We'll set
And I
out our
wonder, and I
argument.
wonder, and I wonder, Ian, who you'd prefer to have the argument with. I mean, you're probably going to think or tell me that you'll take whoever comes. It's all the same to you. But you mentioned Boris Johnson there. I wonder if you're secretly rooting for Boris Johnson. There is the conventional view
Mm.
over past years is that Boris Johnson has turned out to be in some ways an asset to the Scottish National Party. Is that your view?
No, it's not, because I think we've all suffered because of the failures of the Truss government, the Boris Johnson government before that, the terrible rise in poverty that we're now seeing, the impact of the cost of living crisis. And I really grieve that the impact that these governments have had on the lives of many people. So we need to escape that. I don't want to see Boris Johnson back again. He was a man that was singly unsuited to office, and everything that went on. The Prime Minister that was found to have been in breach of the law, the first Prime Minister in history, and the fact that the rules didn't apply to him. I mean, there's so many things. It's probably not necessary to recount again tonight, but I think to have that debate about how we can actually deliver growth and prosperity is really important. And my party has published two documents over the last 2 weeks. The Westminster Group published a paper on green energy, a plan to increase our output fivefold to deliver up to 385,000 jobs, drive investment into the economy. The First Minister presented an economic plan this week. And I think these are the things that people want to talk about. How
Yeah.
can we actually make a difference to their lives?
Tell me, Ian, in your dealings with the outgoing Prime Minister Liz Truss, how did you get on with Liz Truss on a personal level, and do you feel sympathy for her on that human level? It was a bit of a sad spectacle earlier, wasn't it?
Of course, we're all human beings, and nobody likes to see what has happened. She's been absolutely humiliated over the course of the last few weeks, and of course you want to wish everybody all the best. But she put herself up for this, and let's not forget, Tory MPs and members put her in this position. She should never have been prime minister. We've had the fantasy of the right wing libertarians has been played out in our manifesto over the course of the last few weeks, and that cost that we all face. But of course, I don't want to see her having gone through the things that she has done. I actually didn't have a relationship with her. I haven't had a meeting with her. Rather interestingly, she's never met and even had a phone call with the first ministers of either Wales or Scotland in the time that she was first minister. There's
Hmm.
no way to behave. But look, that door is closed. I want to work constructively with whoever is in office, quite simply because we've got that responsibility to protect our constituents. And there's a real pressing issue that we face because the energy cap that we all want to see is now only in place till the spring. And we're faced with the impact of higher energy costs coming through to individuals, families, businesses over the course of the next few months. So we need to make sure that we get people through this. And that's what's important. But I desperately want to see an opportunity that we can get rid of this government. I want rid
Okay.
of this government.
All right.
That
Okay.
should be an absolute priority.